Why is it every time I start this video that man starts strumming the grass? Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be sharing with you some 99p Kindle book deals that I have seen on Amazon. This will be a mixture of three different categories. So there'll be the ones that I have read previously, so I would just recommend them to you because they're 99p now, but when I bought them they were whatever price that they were, like full price or whatever. Then there's the ones that I've bought this month which I hope to read very soon, and one of them I've actually started reading. And then the third category is ones that I have seen that caught my eye but I haven't bitten the bullet and bought them yet because my TBR is just way too big. And although I am doing quite well this year in terms of reading, and I am definitely on target of meeting my 25 books in 2025 target, I just not quite sure if I'm just not quite sure if I like them enough to get them, even though they are just 99p. But I also don't want to get into a habit of buying like lots of books just because they're cheap and then never getting around to reading them, because I think that's just a waste of money. Anyway, so let's start with the ones that I have read and that I bought whenever I bought them a while ago. But if you like the sound of them, then they get a thumbs up from me. Okay, so the first one is A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'm not quite sure. I should know her surname because I've heard about this book all over social media. But I read this book a while ago, and it is a fantasy novel and it's very Hunger Games vibe. Not that I've read it, but I've seen some of the films with my daughter, and I would definitely recommend it. I am very keen to read the other books in the series, especially the second one, because I hear that's the best out of all of them, but I just haven't found any good deals on the other books in the kind of series. So I will hold off on reading those until they're cheaper. Another book that I have also read is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I think I've actually got that book here. Yes, I do. This book is really good. It has the very iconic opening, which was Last Night I Dreamt I Went to Mandalay Again, and this book is about a woman who is unnamed, and she marries a wealthy widower, and she moves into his house, which she quickly finds is haunted by the ghost of his previous wife, and the kind of story that follows after that. And it's good. I would definitely recommend it. I've also watched the film with the girl from Cinderella, what's her name? Lily James. So yeah, it stars Lily James, and that was good as well. So if you want to pick that one up, it is a very old story actually. When was this written? It was first published in 1938. So yeah, very old story, but definitely a classic. Another book I would recommend, which is 99p, and that is The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This book is really good. I've spoken about it before in a different video, but it is basically a story about a girl who signs up for DNA testing to meet her soulmate, and I guess it's not a spoiler to say that she gets matched with the guy who... Is it a spoiler to say that? I'm not going to say who she gets matched with in case... So yeah, it's not a spoiler. Jess gets match made with the founder of the company who do the DNA testing to meet your soulmate, and it is the kind of hijinks and all that stuff that follows, and it was one of the best books that I read last year. It was very easy to read and it just kept you going, so I would 100% recommend that one. Finally, this one, I didn't give it so many stars, but I definitely think that you should give it a read, because if you're anything like me and you like Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, then I would definitely recommend it for that reason. And it is called Maybe in Another Life, and it is a sliding doors style story about a girl who, her life kind of has two paths in the story, and you kind of see what happens if she was in one scenario and what happens if she was in another scenario, and she meets her like soulmate in like both lives. It isn't one of my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid stories, but I would still recommend it, especially if it's only 99p. Moving on to the books that I did buy, I would say there's 4/5 books that I bought, because one of the books that I bought right at the beginning of the month was 99p, but when I checked this morning it actually gone up to $2.99, and that is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. And I read Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors, and I was not a huge fan of that book at all. I don't want to say I would give it 0 stars, but I definitely wouldn't give it a high rating, just because I don't like books that are that dark and gritty and deal with like suicide themes and that kind of thing. And so that would be the only reason I would give it a low mark, because I don't really, I don't want to say I don't identify, but I just find it really hard to relate to that kind of way of thinking. I mean, that makes me sound like I'm incredibly optimistic, but I do think that I'm more of a glass half full type person. Anyway, I digress, because this book has gone back up to $2.99 anyway. So back to my list. I bought these 4, and as far as I know, they're still 99p. So there's The Wedding People by Alison Espach. There's Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, which I have already started reading and I'm on chapter 11. There is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and there's The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. The Wedding People is literally all over my social media. So many people have recommended it, but I think it is one of those hit and miss ones, because I do feel that I have seen a lot of people who say that it's not quite their cup of tea. But there's that one, and then Magnolia Parks, which I have spoken about in a different video, and as I said, I'm on chapter 11 now, and it has got better. The swearing has got less, because as I mentioned in that video, I'm not a huge fan of excessive swearing in books. I just don't think it's necessary. And also in songs, because there's like that JLo song where she uses the F word, and it's just completely out of context because it's the only one swear word in the song, and it just doesn't make sense that she swears. Anyway, it's a whole different, like, I'm going way too deep into that. Anyway, so Magnolia Parks, it is interesting. It's definitely kept me going all the way to chapter 11, and I'm sure I'll blitz through it. It is about I think she's a wealthy socialite. She is a beautiful, affluent, self-involved and mildly neurotic London socialite. He is Britain's most photographed bad boy who broke her heart. Magnolia Parks and BJ Ballantyne, who are meant to be, and everyone knows it. She dates other people to keep him at bay. he sleeps with other girls to get back at her. But at the end of every sad endeavour to get over one another, it's still each other they crawl back to. So I don't think I am the typical reader for this type of book, because I am in my 40s and I do think it's aimed at a much younger target audience. But that being said, I do find it interesting to read and to see the dysfunction of Magnolia's relationship with BJ. I am not forming any big opinions on it yet. It's just easy to read and just, yeah, interesting. When I was in a bit of a reading slump, I went on TikTok and I was just scrolling through loads and loads of videos, finding new recommendations, and these two books definitely came up quite often, and they are Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez and The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. I have read a few of Abby Jimenez's books before, and I will always buy them if ever they're 99p or they seem like a good deal in general, and I am very much looking forward to reading that one. And Rebecca Yarros is not an author that I have ever read anything of hers before, and The Last Letter, I have seen quotes like all over my TikTok about Beckett and the love interest Ella, so I decided to go for those two. Finally, there are 3 books that I haven't bought, but I am very tempted, and I may buy it if I get through my other books quite quickly before the end of the month. And they are When God Was a Rabbit by Sarah Winman, The Spark by Holly Miller, and What a Way to Go by Bella Mackie. I've read some of Holly Miller's books before and I think they are very easy to read, and I may or may not try that one. When God Was a Rabbit, I've literally heard so much about that and it does seem really, really good, but I'm not quite sure if that's enough to tip me over the edge, just because I've got other ones that I want to read first. And What a Way to Go by Bella Mackie, I bought How to Kill Your Family, but I haven't read that yet. So that is another one on my TBR. And I've heard mixed reviews about How to Kill Your Families. So yeah, they're my 3 maybes. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and let me know if you found it interesting and that you will pick up any of these books as a result, and I will see you in my next video.